Hey, try that again. Hey, how's it going? I wasn't gonna do a video today, but I came across something in my own personal kind of shadow work, I guess you could say. And I'm gonna share it because it was a thing that I hadn't thought about for a long time that I was reminded of because I've been watching the old sci-fi series, The Dead Zone. I think that's where it originated. Hold on. Sorry about that. So, it's very good. Like, at the time, I remember reviews of it, like, when it was out in the first place. The reviews were very good. And I didn't watch it, I think because I either didn't have cable or I worked at the time that it came on, or both of those things. But I was always aware of it, and because I'm a Stephen King fan, I had seen the movie and read the book. So it's been kind of a revelation watching the show because Anthony Michael Hall, of course, is going to play it different than Christopher Walken. And, I mean, there's just vast spaces between the performances of those two actors. But, so the character in the series is introspective in a way that I just would not have expected at the time. But, because it's very, like, spiritual, and a lot of the concepts and stuff that he talks about are things that I'm seeing right now in my own spiritual studies, or have seen in the same areas. So, but that's not what I want to talk about that show. Oh, here, please look at my signs. Oops. Okay, so, the reason why I'm talking about the Dead Zone series in relation to what my personal thing is that, and I don't know if this happens in reality to you know, real psychics, and I don't know, okay, I don't know if it happens the way it appears on the show to real psychics, but what I'm referring to is the way that other people perceive his gift. Like, they think he can just see anything anywhere, like, all times, and what they don't understand is he sees what he's given to see, which that mirrors reality. Like, I don't think there are very many people that can just be all, I want to know this specific thing, and forget about times. Like, they being, like, whoever you happen to contact in the spirit world, because that's a whole thing I'm not going to go into also. But depending on who you contact, you're just going to have a different interface, just like with people. So, and also, depending on who you contact, they may or may not be willing to tell you certain things. They may or may not be willing to tell or let you know why they won't tell you. So it's not like you're in control of it. It's sort of like you're a vessel for it to happen, and you just kind of got to go with the flow. And and everybody's gift is different. Like, if you look up all of the things, all of the clairs, for instance, like clairvoyance or clairaudience, or, you know, like, those are things that I believe it means you can perceive them, at the very least hear them. A psychic medium, that refers to being able to contact the other side, like dead people, but not exclusively. They might be able to do other stuff too. So I always think of that because when I started recognizing, like, things that I had going on, I didn't even think anything was in the first place. And, like, I I had to reshape my perception of what I thought psychic stuff was. So I forgot to look it up before I started, but if you don't know, the character Johnny, what the heck's his last name? Johnny Smith. He had like a serious incident in his life, which often in reality awakens psychic gifts in people. I thought he didn't have it before, and then like there was another scene where it was like his mother, and she was like, "Oh, he hit his head playing hockey, and so sometimes he had a concussion, so sometimes he faints." But he fainted, but it was because he touched somebody else and had a vision, which is true to the character in the book and the movie and the show. Except, at first in the show, before this part with the kid, where he's a kid and he like hit his head playing hockey, supposedly, the accident was what did it. And they didn't mention him having like the ability before. These things happen in media productions, like stuff changes and continuity doesn't keep up. It happens. Or it was like not a real memory, and that could be a lot of things, which I'm not going to go into that either. But what I want to go into is the way that everybody wants him to do something. Like, here, touch me because I'm dying and I want to know when. And, my kid is missing. Here's his baseball. Touch it. And it's like, nobody gives the guy a break. Like, he's not a vending machine. And he does want to help people, and he tries to explain to people, like, hey, like I kind of have a no touch policy, and then, but we're old friends, or I'm your family, and I'm just an insistent person you don't know that's obnoxious, and they touch him anyway. Well, he actually, in one episode, he gets kidnapped because they want him to see a certain thing, and no one, and even if they know about the touching thing, they think it's other than what it is. Like one guy that had a past that would be, let's just say, problematic, and it's actually like the Trump sort of analog, the Greg Stilson character. So that guy is like, he knows he did bad things in his past, and he just assumes that's what Johnny saw. But when you see what Johnny saw, it's none of that. So Johnny's just all letting him go. He's like, guys, like getting more and more excited because Johnny's not saying anything, and he's saying he didn't see anything, and the guy's like, I gotta pass. Like, he's just making all these admissions and making himself look guilty. So I was like, that's interesting. And the reason why he was nervous is because he knew that Johnny, like I guess a lot of psychics do, assisted police in investigations. I think he's having a zoomie or something, my cat. So I just kept thinking about how people have their impression of an incident or something happening, and then they don't know the reality, and then the person who does know the reality often doesn't get a chance to explain. Like, for Johnny, his reasons for not explaining are, well, they make sense. You don't want to tell people that you saw their death, but it may not be written in stone. They also, like, did not care that it just started happening to him, and it was new to him. See, yeah, he says that a couple of times, so there's that weird continuity thing. I must not have been paying attention to why it was not in continuity with the kid fall. So he even tells people, he's like, look, this is new to me. I don't really know how it works. I can't just... But no one gives him a chance to say, I can't just tell you stuff that I don't know, and I don't know what it's going to show me. I can't direct it to show me what I want it to see. And, I thought, how sad that is. Hi, I'm busy. Can you stop doing that right now? So, The reason why I'm telling you that is because, like, I've been working through my own shadow work, or sometimes we just have things about ourselves that we want to work on that we actually can work on. And what I've been working on involves sort of inner child issues. So as I was watching this show and noting how that dynamic of people just assuming things and that are not the case, and but you don't even get a chance to tell them, it reminded me of something that happened when I was in junior high school. So my birthday's in December, which means for half of the year I'm younger than everybody else, and then I was just younger anyway. So I started 7th grade and I was 11. Or wait, was I 11? Yeah, I was 11 until December of that year, my first year of 7th grade. So I started out at 11, everybody's already like 12 or 13, and then finally, December comes and I catch up a little bit. So my point is, I was young. I was boy crazy though, and so after a while, this boy decided that he liked me, and I kind of liked him okay. People don't, Kitty, people don't think about what you are thinking. Like, I definitely, like I said, I was boy crazy, but this was not a boy I had even thought about. He was, like, handsome enough or whatever, and in retrospect, his personality was kind of pushy and overbearing, and as I will go on to say, it doesn't get better. So I'm walking home one day, and this boy, John Valerio, is walking next to me or with me, and there's a girl that was also, she wasn't with us, but she was following him, actually. And I didn't really realize this until afterwards, after all this happened, but she'd been following him around for a while because she liked him, So we're walking home, me and John are side by side, and this girl's like right on us, right behind us. She's not with us, like we know each other because she's from our same grade, but whatever. So her name was Rebecca, I think. And, I didn't like her anyway before this. It's like she just rubbed me the wrong way. And it wasn't like I needed to have any kind of thing about it. I just, left her alone. And I don't know. I'm not going to say she left me alone because she didn't. It seemed like she always found some way to insert herself into a conversation or something. But she wasn't in the conversation. Like, that was kind of her deal. Like, she wasn't popular. I don't think she wasn't, this was in Hollywood, so you gotta understand that there were, like, already beautiful people in your junior high school. It was ridiculous. And very appearance conscious and mean, and, yeah, it was a whole experience. But let me just tell you, so she wasn't, like, very attractive. She had, like, a lot of skin tags all over her face. She was Caucasian, and the skin tags were darker. Like, it was just unfortunate. But, that could be dealt with, I'm sure. But anyway, so we're walking home from school, and John says, "Do you want to be my girlfriend?" And I was like, well, yeah. And then, I got all thrilled and happy and whatever. And so he leans over to kiss me, and he sticks his tongue in my mouth. And I froze, because the only other time that had happened, remember, I'm still 11 at this point. The only other time that had happened was when my friggin' dad did it. Oh, so inappropriate was this foolish man. So when John kissed me and did that, I froze, because I think because of, like, Me Too and Time's Up, we now have, like, a better understanding of what it's like to suddenly be assaulted and the symptoms they cause. And so listen, then we're only like we're still on the same block the dang school is on. And he's already like, he backs up. He's like, why aren't you kissing back? He's like, oh, are you afraid? You're afraid. And I was still just frozen because of what I just said. And then he turns around to Rebecca, who's like right there, and he's like, I forget all what he said. Obviously, I probably dissociated after that. But he turns around to Rebecca and he goes, well, do you want to be my girlfriend? And then they start kissing and they walk away. And I'm just like barely at watching their backs walk away, able to go, my dad. People have no clue what is going on with you. And they just jump and make all kinds of assumptions. And I don't know what my experience pertains to exactly, but it was very humiliating because, boy, I think by the time, everybody had gotten home, like by like 4 o'clock, the whole school already knew, because the next day I came back and everybody was talking about it, talking about like what I did and didn't do and why I did or didn't do it. But no one asked me, no one gave me the opportunity to explain, well, the reason why I froze was because of this, which I'm sure many of the people there would have an understanding of themselves, because when you're that pretty at that young an age, put it this way, the gym teacher was screwing around with one of my 7th grade classmates. Like, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, I saw them like macking on each other, like making out. It was inappropriate. It was child abuse. And also, this girl looked like a beautiful young woman. She didn't even look like a child, but she was. She was 13. So, it was the school. It was the next week. Couple of weeks was just bad. People were relentless. Like everybody had an opinion, even though like most of them didn't have some kind of experience where they were like hooked up with somebody. We were all really young, but everybody was like, I don't know, like sort of advanced because probably they grew up in Hollywood, and a lot of people at that school had parents that were famous or worked in Hollywood or music somehow. So everybody was a little wise ass, everybody was like a little too smart for their own good. And so now I'm not sure what digging that all up and airing it out is gonna bring up in myself. Because when I think of the things that I'm trying to get a handle on myself, I don't see how this applies, but it felt important personally, and then it felt like, I mean, you might be wondering, why is she sharing this? I don't know, like, I just felt like I should, so here I am. But also, obviously, like, hopefully it'll help someone else maybe get past some things they haven't been able to get past and not known why. Like, I know intellectually that, like, going over your past and hard moments where something happened that maybe you didn't deal with at the time and you just kind of shoved down inside, because you didn't want to be hurt, because you knew it was going to be painful. Well, when you stuff things down and put them in a box and compartmentalize them and forget about them, they're not easier to deal with later. I don't think so. I mean, not for me. My things do not. I suppose there have been a couple of occasions where it's been like, enough time has passed and I've matured enough that this is not a thing. and this is not breaking me to remember this. I mean, obviously I survived then. I'm gonna continue surviving in spite of it. But it was a major moment. Like, it gave me glimpses of things that I didn't really realize I was paying attention to, I guess. Like that girl always being around, like, all of the time. I don't think I was the only one that thought she was unpleasant, and so that's probably why she was always, like, hanging around all the time, and it was us feeling like, why is this barnacle always around? It was, we were not being very kind to her, and like I said, she had some things going on that, like, really didn't help her, but her self-esteem was just fine, as I described. So that's something to consider. Like, there's a lot of things like that when something is brought to mind. Like, I just feel like if I don't understand it at first, I need to, like, pick it over and look at it from every way that I hadn't before. And then, now equipped with emotional intelligence and maturity, maybe whatever I get resolved from that is gonna help me with something that I've been trying to resolve today. Because look at how it just started. Like, when I turn off the camera, I am going to sit down, or I am sitting down, but I'm gonna, like, pull out my notepad and just sort of start writing, because that kind of, for me, unlocks things. And so I also have to further continue thinking about what spurred me toward all of this. Like, watching, like, the show's a lot. The show's got a lot going on in it that applies to me and is of interest to me and is, like, synchronous with a lot of stuff I've been thinking about and things that are going on. Like, the Greg Stilson character is not this. He's been compared to Trump a long time. Like, even before Trump was running for office, he was being compared with Trump. So Stephen King's got a bit of The Shining himself. and so that makes the show have those sort of paranormal aspects that I really enjoy. Anyway, so I'm just sharing that experience with you. It was a gnarler at the time. Oh my God, I was so humiliated. And by the way, for all of the really gorgeous people that were in the school, there were also some that were just messed up looking, because that's what happens in adolescence when you're coming out of being a tween. Sometimes you just look a fright because you're changing from a child to an adult, and then sometimes it's just messy. So a lot of beautiful people, stuck up, mean, but then I think about that girl that was with the gym teacher, and it's like, yeah, I wonder how that worked out. I bet she wasn't, like, totally happy pretty quick, actually. So a lot of stuff to consider that just sort of got brought to my attention, and I'm thinking I'll glean something of value from all of it. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for sharing in my humiliation moment with me. Thank you and good night.